welcome to Uptown Tonight. It is August 11th of 2021. We have a great show for you tonight. We have the Mr. Grinsteiner right here, and he's one of the smartest people I ever have conversations with, so I'm really excited to see what's going to come out of his face this time. So you better not disappoint there, Mr. Grinsteiner.
I'll try.
Oh, yeah, he won't. Don't worry about that. But I'm your host. My name is Mr. Wade Stahlberger, or Stallenfacher in some runs, and sometimes I'm Discount Tom Cruise. They call me the Whiz on stage, no idea. Then we have Cito over here, running all the buttons and all that fun stuff.
Hey, thanks, Wade.
Yep, and we always say Cito has the sexiest name on the stage, so that's pretty good. Now, our last we have two more performers in the band. Peter, we call Red Monk, and Brady. And Brady still needs a name. He needs a stage name because Brady. And it's all American and everything else, but maybe we could spice it up a little bit. So if you have any ideas out there on name for Brady, a good old stage name, put it in the comments below. So you can find us on Uptowntonightpodcast at Gmail. Or you can find us, again, at uptownbandfargo.com on all this fun stuff. So, basically, what we're going to be talking about this week is what we've done last weekend. We had a good three-show stint there, and it seemed really, really long. I don't think we've ever done 3 shows in a row like that before. And then we're going to do some juvenile destruction and talk about what's going to be happening this weekend with Cito, as long we're talking with Mr. Grinsteiner here. So what you can do for us right now is hit that subscribe button. That would really help us out. Like, share, and all that other fun stuff. But definitely hit that subscribe button. So, Cito, what did we do last weekend?
We went to a golf course.
Well, we did go to a golf course.
And then we played at in Fargo at downtown. And then we played at the Plains Art Museum.
Yeah, the Plains Art Museum. Let's put up some of these pictures here of what we were doing last weekend. Because I know the first one we were playing was just ladies' night over at the Windbreak, which is awesome right there again. So shout out there to good old Butter. And just the sound that guy makes for any band, it's amazing. The guy is just amazing. And we've been trying to get him on here. Other people have been mentioning that you should get him on here, and he just kind of refuses. So if you're ever at the Windbreak, stop by the sound booth there and go, Butter. It'd be kind of cool to see you on the podcast, and I'm sure he'll say something really unique back to you, but, that would be it. And here's us over at the golf course. This is in Oaks, North Dakota. This is the view I had from behind the set. It was really, really cool until the sun went down. Right there, we got to see that. I have a little video of it on our Facebook page, so if you want to go to that, be Uptown Band on Facebook, and you can see a little video of me just basically showing the scene that's going on right there. And our third show was at the Plains Art Museum. Now, this place was questionable at first. It was like, what was going to happen? Because it basically had like all the concrete walls, all the artwork sitting around like that basically what you're seeing right there is we're underneath a little walkway, but then once you walk out for where the wood is, you look straight up, and it goes like 4 stories straight up, and there's nothing there. So I was like, what's the sound going to do in here? Is it really going to just bounce around and everything else? And dialed it in right away, and it sounded really nice. And then people came out, and as soon as the bodies got onto the dance floor, then, of course, the sound changed. And that was one of the things that we kind of, I don't know if we didn't really learn this weekend, but we knew we had to really work with. And Cito does his magic out there. Yes. He was saving the day on that one. He made everything just sound good. So that's just one of those things. If you have the ability to afford a sound guy, you probably want to do it. You want somebody out there that has ears and just always paying attention and turning the dials for you, and not just turning you up or turning you down, being able to actually bring you in with all the different frequencies and all the other fun stuff. So all you sound people out there, I know there's not many left, but we need more of you. And thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do. And that one's a sideway photo. I think that was back at, that's at Oaks. And, yep. So we're basically showing the rugs there between Brady and Cito. So.
Brady's rug, though, ties the stage together.
It ties the stage. Of course it does. So that's all we have for this weekend. Yeah, just learn about all the sound guy and all the other fun stuff. Man, we definitely should have a sound guy. All right, so Jeremy, what's been going on? I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a few months since stopped by last
Yeah, exactly. And before
Yeah.
that, it was like almost a couple of years.
time. Yeah,
then.
it was a big long stint, staying busy like usual. Always finding something to do.
See, this guy right here, this is what I love about him, is that once he figures out something he wants to do, he just dives in with both feet. He doesn't come up for air ever. And it's always like he goes to the bottom before he finally realizes or just decides that, okay, I went far enough, and then he goes on to another project. So this one right here, I don't think you found bottom yet, at least what you've been working on lately, which is fitness. and all that.
Yeah. So I'm a strength and conditioning coach. So definitely took a big turn from what I did studying in school and what I kind of got my start in the workforce as. And even within that, I had quite a few career changes inside of that. So I've done a little bit of, I don't want to say everything, but close to, it feels like. Anyways.
It does. We'll get into all this in just a few moments because this guy has gone everywhere and it's succeeded in everything that he's done too. That's the real cool part about it. So let's get back to like brass tacks. Where did you come from, besides your mother?
So originally, I grew up in Dickinson, North Dakota, much like a few other of your guests.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
at least in the area.
Because I think you introduced me to a few of them, and I think maybe you introduced me to all of them actually. Probably because I met you at NDSU in was it the mid 2000s?
It was 2000 and I think 10.
Was it 2010?
9 or 10. I think it was probably like the fall of 2009.
That would make sense too.
Yeah.
That would really make sense too.
Yeah.
So Dickinson, way out there, and you made it all the way to the east side.
Yeah.
Interesting. What happened out in Dickinson? What were you doing?
So I originally, after high school, I took a big detour away from the old homestead out there.
Okay.
Which actually wasn't a homestead; it was in the town.
So in high school, that's where you started playing music, right?
Yeah. So it started off like a lot of folks in, especially rock bands and things like that, or even in art music. I was a trombone player.
Okay, so this is how I know Grinsteiner here is from this musical background. That's where I picked up on him on his journey here, and it's definitely turned and turned and turned and turned. He has not let up on the music yet because I know he's bugged me a couple of times in the very recent past about bass playing, which is really cool. You need to get back out there, but. So that's why I'm bugging him about the music part. So he started off as a trombone player?
Yeah, I started in trombone. I wanted to be a drummer real bad. Like a lot of kids. You want to play the cool instruments. You want to play drums, or you want to play guitar, or stuff that's everybody thinks is like the things that make you famous, I guess, or like notable.
Well, it's things that are out there you actually can watch.
Yeah, exactly. The things that people pay more attention to usually, but ended up in trombone. I can't even remember why. Like for some reason that was like what was available.
Okay, so when did that start? 6th grade, I'm assuming.
5th grade.
5th grade.
Yeah,
Ooh.
a little earlier.
Okay.
I know. Really tipping the scales on that one. I was, admittedly, I was not that great at it. Like in high school, I did competitions and things, and always came pretty much dead last. But kept at it, kept trying to make it work.
You never stopped.
No. Well, I haven't really played for many years, but so I guess I kind of have stopped.
Well, okay.
But kept it going
that
to a
point.
point that I was doing things like International Music Camp every year. I got invited to play. I got good enough, I guess, that I got invited to play at the local university my senior year as like a 3rd trombone player.
Oh, nice.
So I got that collegiate experience as far as a musician a little earlier than most folks did.
Okay, so you're invited like into the college band?
Yep.
Okay, so they're looking for more players? And
They only had, I think, 2 trombone players at the time.
Okay, in Dickinson?
Yeah, and the band director at the time, Dr. Studd, he's a low brass expert and primarily a trombone player.
Okay.
And so then every time I was at International Music Camp, I would run into him, and he'd be like, so what are you going to do for college?
Oh, of course. Recruit.
Yeah, exactly. And so then I think it was after our holiday concert, my senior year of high school, he's like, so what do you have going on like 3 o'clock on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays? And it just so happened that I believe I had a free period at that time, or something worked out to where I was able to just go over and hang out and play in the college band.
So you had an open campus as well in
Yep.
high school. See,
Yeah.
I didn't have that. How come Moorhead wouldn't do that? Everyone
we
else
were
I talked to.
We were pretty unique in our school as well because we were on a block schedule.
Oh,
So my free period was an hour and a half long.
wow, yeah, it would be.
Because we only have 4 classes every day. So when you have a free period, that's only 3 classes a day.
So no, I had friends in their senior year. They had like jazz band, regular band, and a lesson. That was all they had left to do because all the rest of it was done. So they literally went to school for like 2 hours and they were done.
That's kind of
every
what
day.
I did for my last semester,
And
especially.
I had to be there the entire time.
Yeah.
I called in sick a lot. Shh.
Poor planning.
You know.
But yeah, so did that. In the midst of all of that, I picked up the bass. We had.
So you started with the bass.
Yeah.
This is the first time I saw you were playing guitar. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Moved my way into it. Started off with bass mostly because, like a lot of other bass players out there, they had a band and they already had enough guitar players, and
What?
nobody wanted to play bass.
What? No one wants to play bass?
Yeah.
Cito. Well,
I love playing bass.
yeah.
It's the thing that comes with maturity, I think.
Maturity? Cito
Maybe.
mature? I don't know about this.
Wisdom, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so I had to pick it up because nobody else would,
Okay.
and ended up in a couple of small, little, just messing around with friends, jamming in basements and
Okay.
stuff.
So how did you get a bass? And do you like get the bass in the cab? Do you do
yeah.
the Grinsteiner thing where you go on, you find everything for extra cheap, and then you just
I didn't know anything. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
really?
I had no clue.
Wait.
All I had was like the old musician's friend catalog.
Okay.
And I was like looking at what I could find and doing the planning. And okay, I had like the world's saddest paper route. It was like only Wednesdays. It was like one of those like penny saver, like
Gotcha.
those,
Yeah.
yeah, where you just give them away basically.
Yep.
So you got to deliver them to every single house. I made $12.50 a week,
Woohoo!
or maybe it was 2 weeks. Can't remember.
Don't.
So I had to save my pennies up for a Rogue bass.
There we go.
Yeah, it was the cheapest of the cheap. It was like $120 or something like that. And found a bass cat or like a small little 5-watt practice amp for like another $40 or something like that. So it was like
Nice.
breaking the bank at $200, somewhere close to that. And it was like a nail biting experience because it was more money than I'd ever spent in my entire life at that point.
Learning experience. That's
Yeah.
nice.
And
And what grade was this in, or was this after?
no, this is still in high school. I think
Okay.
I might have been a sophomore, maybe. Yeah, probably sophomore.
Okay, 10th
level.
grade, yeah.
Yeah, 10th grade.
Solid.
We had a group of a couple of guys in my trombone section. One guy, he had moved up from Missouri, and he started as a bass player as well, but then he became a guitar player because that's, like I said, every teenage guy wants to do that.
The evolution.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
And so we always talked about doing these band things and met up with all the other guys in my grade who were also learning to play music at the same time, kind of separately.
Okay.
And yeah, we started doing some jamming things. Nothing really ever came out of any of it. Like seriously, while I was in high school.
Okay.
Again, back in those days, it was like early days of like the Dickinson music scene. And that's actually how I got connected with Mr. Aaron Dorval as well.
Dorval.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's also, this is late 90s, early 2000s era. Back when we had things like message boards in the world. I think they still exist. But like,
Message board.
yeah.
I
And
do
it was like a
remember those.
local musician forum or something like that. And just posting like, all right, looking for somebody to do something with.
Like jam with?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And this guy answered. He's like, yeah, I'm in the area. I live in Belfield and stuff. We should get together sometime. I was like, yeah, cool. And that's like many things in the internet when you are kind of passing, like those things just kind of ships passing in the night. And it just so happened, because I was really big into movies and video games, just classic nerd stuff, pretty much. And
Techno geek.
yeah. And one of the local video stores, I'm getting my stuff. I think I was getting like a movie back when they were still in VHS, I'm pretty sure. and like a Nintendo 64 game or something.
Now you're dating yourself.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah. And bring it up to the counter and ask for like the phone number or whatever, and types it in. He's like, "Oh, hey, you're that guy." And I'm like, "What?" "From the musician forum. We talked about getting together." And I was like, "Wait, what now?"
No way. Like
Yeah.
a guy at Blockbuster recognized your
Pretty
number?
much. Yeah. No, not the number, the name.
The name. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, "By chance are you?" Yeah. And so that's how we like physically cross paths in the world.
That
Yeah.
is cool. 'Cause
Yeah.
Dickinson isn't that small.
It's not that big either.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, at the time, I think it was probably like 16,000 people, which, it's not tiny, but it's not not tipping the scales by any means. And just happened to run into him. We crossed paths a bunch of times after that, and as the music scene in Dickinson grew and grew, then you see each other more often, and then we both ended up out here. But
So this is Aaron you're talking
yeah,
about?
Aaron.
Aaron was working at the
It was
video store?
Total Entertainment Center. I believe it was called. Yeah. It was very
He probably
sick name.
did tell me about it. The guy's
Yeah.
got stories for years. So
Oh yeah,
love
totally.
it.
Yeah.
Love it. So what were the first songs that you learned, or didn't you learn songs? You just do jamming?
I did a little bit more learning of songs.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what the first one I learned was.
Mine was Them Bones.
Them Bones?
By Alice in Chains.
Yeah. I honestly don't remember. I think it was probably something by Korn, because that was a big thing.
Corn?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Probably like Blind by Korn. And so
Really
like
just cranking on that old Rogue.
pretty much, yeah. And like I had I had the world's crappiest little tuner. It only tuned to like standard.
Okay.
So I had to try to figure out how to tune down to a 5-string and lower on this little standard. It's like a guitar tuner with a bass.
Another
And
learning experience.
No idea how to set up a bass. Strings were just flopping everywhere. It probably sounded like crap.
This is pre-YouTube.
Exactly. No tutorials on how to do really anything. You could go to the old musician forums and then get yelled at by old guys and like, "Oh, damn kids, you just learn how to do it."
So were you one of those people that went down to that one music store in Dickinson?
The Music Mart, yeah.
Okay.
This was like still back when Dave was owning it.
Okay, that was
the guy that Aaron was talking. The old guy, yeah.
Okay,
Old Dave.
I remember that from Dorval. So.
Yeah. So I the cool thing is that like since you've had Jay and Aaron, I kind of bridge between the two.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is fun.
We would get stuff from him. I was too young to be like really part of like what a lot of the guys in Aaron's scene were doing.
Okay.
Even though they had their little jam spot, like it wasn't always, I don't know. I just didn't really know about it because I wasn't hanging out by the Esquire, like, because it's a bar. And so I was just hanging out with my high school friends, making noise in, people's basements and shit.
Exactly.
And, I think my buddy Chris, his brother had like an old Roland Jazz Chorus 120. So it was like a 120 watt solid state amp.
Nice.
And he had his little crate amp that he used. It was his specific guitar amp, and we would jam out, and I would use that. And so that was a lot louder than my little 5 watt or 30 watt pile of crap that couldn't be heard anywhere.
Wow.
And so yeah, we would jam stuff, and we'd meet up with another friend, Chris, and Cody, and jammed a couple of times. Like I said, big into like the new metal stuff, and then we just putz around and see if we could make some noise that sounded something passable like music.
That's cool. That's cool. So when was it like the first time you actually got on stage with anybody?
That was quite a few years later. So I moved away from Dickinson and the U.S. and I lived in Germany for a year.
Oh, so this is after all that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
So you didn't do anything on Dickinson, at least?
No. So I did a little bit of like acoustic stuff. Oh, I'll take that back. So I was in theater and things like that and performed in bands and in like art music settings with trombones and brass quartets and choirs and things like that, but not in a rock band setting. I'd never done anything like that.
That's what I was going for.
Did some acoustic work when I was in Germany, like playing for beers in like the local pub a little bit. But
is that guitar then?
Yeah, just acoustic guitar.
Okay, so
that's
you learned
about when I started. So my brother really wanted to play, so somehow my brother got a guitar. Like, I think he saved his pennies on his, because he had like the companion shitty paper route.
Okay.
Because they're like 2 competing like free newspapers at the time. And so he had one, and I think his paid even like slightly better.
Ooh.
And so then he saved up and got this Epiphone. No, I think it was a DeArmond SG copy. I remember it fondly. I kind of miss this guitar. It's like this is cheapo. I think they sold them on Musician's Friend for like $99.
Oh yeah,
they're like clearing them out because they like nobody wanted to buy them, and it was actually a really nice guitar. And he bought it, and it sat on a hook for a long time, and then my parents just bought it from him and gave it to me, and so that was my first guitar. So then I started plinking around, learning how to play guitar. I think that was about senior year of high school, late junior year.
Okay.
So learning both, still playing trombone. I think later then I got into choir. I'd never really sang in any real setting aside from just like singing along to songs and things like that. Got into some like vocal, small ensembles.
So we can start seeing how this all starts blending together.
Yeah, so it's all the same stuff. You're just doing different shit with your hands.
Yeah.
And started to learn that around that time, and started to get more and more into learning my music theory and learning all the nuts and bolts on how things are supposed to work, and just continued on. I got a nice acoustic guitar for my graduation present. Took that along with me when I went to Germany, and so just used that to keep my skills going. And
so that was one of the big things. Is that I know you taught me a couple of things in German too that I can't. I shouldn't repeat on this podcast, but it was pretty cool. So how? As I know, there was another thing too. The military was trying to get you at some point.
Oh yeah. So I was at the same time. I thought I wanted to do be in the Air Force at the time.
Okay.
I had some close neighbor friend of mine. He ended up in this organization called the Civil Air Patrol, and it's the official auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. It goes back to World War II. It was like
Is that the ones that were watching like the plane silhouettes and all that?
They were doing coastal defense.
Okay.
So they would fly missions coastally looking for submarines.
Oh,
And
okay.
they actually
Like
had,
1941 or whatever.
Yeah, they actually had some like confirmed kills where they were driving these tiny rickety planes up and down the coast, and they had bombs that they were
literally just drop
World War I style, just dropping it. Pilots flying the plane and just drops it out the side.
That's really cool.
Got interested in that, and really enjoyed my time there, and thought that that's what I wanted to do and what I wanted to be. And once I started getting into my senior year of high school, that kind of shifted, and I just was no longer really all that into it anymore. Started going the more artsy route instead of the military route.
That's where I knew you from.
Yeah.
The artsy stuff. So, Germany now. How did it even come up? And how long were you there?
As with most stories with young boys, it starts with a girl.
Interesting.
So I was
I
dating.
don't know if I know this story.
Yeah. Was dating a young lady from Brookings, South Dakota, and she decided that for her, I think it was after senior year. Yeah, after senior year, that she was going to go live in Germany. She sourced this scholarship through the Rotary Club and stuff, and I was like, well, I guess I'm going too. So then I
So you got on a
So
plane.
what was the plan? It was just following her?
kind of a little bit.
Okay.
But at the same time, I was like, all right, okay, what could I do? I was like, also at the same time, like, that's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so.
Just to be able to go and do something different, not just go right into college right away. I had an offer to go to Dickinson State and study music if I really wanted to. I had a pretty good scholarship offer at the time, and I was like, well, is it okay if I just take a year? And I'm like, all right, yeah, just let us know when you get back. I was like, cool, that makes it easy. And I had found a scholarship program called the Congress Bundestag Youth Scholarship or Youth Program. I can't remember the full name, but it was a partnership started in the post-war period where we would send American students to Germany and German students to the U.S.
Okay.
as part of a whole program.
An exchange student thing.
Exchange student thing.
Yeah.
But a lot of those, if it's like a private exchange, a lot of times you're paying for that. this was completely covered, so it was a scholarship.
Oh wow.
So all I had to cover was like a plane ticket to Washington D.C., any monthly expenses I wanted to incur, and my plane ticket home from Washington D.C.
Well,
So
that doesn't sound like a bad deal at all.
No, not really. So that ended up being pretty great for that, and I got to live outside of Berlin for just under a year, right around like a year, give or take a week or so.
So in Germany for a year. So what were you doing in Germany that entire time besides chasing the girlfriend?
Well, we actually broke up before I even moved.
Oh,
So yeah, but I was like, well, I got this like I'm going.
Yeah, exactly.
I just get to go and figure this out. My German sucked. It was bad. It was real bad.
Did you take German in high school then?
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay.
And yeah, it was not good. And decided to just take the leap. And I went to school there, so it was part of a school program. So even though I had already graduated high school, in Germany they go to 13 grades instead of 12. There were some mismatches for a while there, so I ended up in like the 10th grade for a long time, if not pretty much the whole time. So
okay.
I was like retaking the 10th grade when I was already finished with school.
That's just how far behind the U.S. schools were compared to them, or is it just
no? It's just like it was just a mistake.
Oh,
yeah, it was like a clerical error, and I was just like,
okay.
I don't know, these guys are cool. I'm just gonna hang out with them.
Oh, yeah.
Because I could have went with the 13-year-olds, but they're all studying for their final exam.
Okay.
And so there was a lot of like recapping what they already learned, and I was like, well, I mean, I've learned some of this, but I don't know exactly what the details are. And then there's a whole other language in play, and
I bet, yeah, the language barrier and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and so spent a lot of time in school just trying to listen and figure things out, and it was kind of nice because I didn't really have to. The cool part was that it was the 10th grade. I was repeating a lot, if not all of my information.
Okay.
It was like retaking the same grade over again, like 3 years later. And
how'd that go?
it was fine. But also having to like figure it out in another language though. Because I'm like, we're doing basic biology and talking about mitosis and meiosis, and I'm like, all right, I recognize most of these words. Now I have to try to stitch it all together so I can like pass my tests. And like I wasn't great. I was actually pretty good at school in the US, and I was not great at school in Germany.
Do you have to take history classes there then too? Because that'd be really interesting for me. Is like, how do they present history, at least their history?
It depends on much like the U.S. system or like different school districts and states and things.
Okay.
Each of them teaches different curriculum at different times. And so 10th grade, I'm trying to remember exactly what we covered in history. Oh gosh, that was a long time ago already.
The lifestyles of the penguins in Antarctica.
Yeah. I do remember taking an elective history class, because we had like one elective class we could take.
Okay.
And I took a history class, and the teacher was really cool, and it was more so talking, I think, like middle-age development in Germany. So it was like a little bit more focused on a little bit of German history.
Interesting.
But we did a big focus in like the spring semester on like the local history as well. And so in the immediate vicinity of the town that we went to school in, which is called Rathenau, it's west of Berlin, we toured around and we checked out a couple of like the old city, like the old city walls. It's like we did just a walking field trip one day and just checked things out. We talked about like the configuration, and then talked about the history of when the Swedes invaded and like how they breached the walls and how they conquered the city and when that happened. And going back even further, there's an old Slavic hill fort that's like south of town, I believe it was. And you can still see like the ring of where the fort used to be.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so we learned a lot about the local history of like what happened in the area and like how different peoples moved in and out of the area, what wars kind of shifted everything around.
exactly. 'Cause that's what I would think would be interesting over there. Because for us in the U.S., 200 years old is basically as far back as you go.
Yeah.
You get past that, there's not really much there. And
Well,
you
especially
go,
if you talk about locally in North Dakota, you got what 120 years. At
yeah,
least?
exactly. The mid 1800s is basically where we start, and that's just where it is. And you go back or to Europe, and I know just me doing the metal detecting stuff and just watching what people do in Europe and things. If we're just looking for like pennies that are 100 years old, and we think we're on fire, and those guys are looking for stuff they're like 1,000 years old, and they're like, I find this every day, and you're just like, wow, just the history that they pull out. Like, well, again, that's geekdom that I'm not going to get into now, but that's a whole different podcast of me talking about metal detecting. But that's what I was just wondering is like, what do they talk about for history there? Since ours is kind of shallow. I won't say shallow. That's a bad word to say, but it doesn't have as much depth to it compared to what's going on over there. So that's really interesting to show you the old ring castle and all that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because we did have in the state that I lived in, Brandenburg, we had I believe it was mandated for 10th graders to go to a concentration camp. So we did go to Sachsenhausen.
Mandated?
Yep.
Oh.
It's part of the curriculum.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. So have to go and experience and learn about that part of the history. So
just so it doesn't repeat itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God for that. Yeah.
And so that was, in general, though, I don't actually remember a history class aside from that elective class. And like,
that was just kind of where my mind went. I was like, what would the history be like?
Yeah.
Math and all that, boring.
I think it's hard to say because their school system runs probably a little bit more similarly to what we would view college as.
Oh,
like
interesting.
It's a weird combination of, you remember back in like grade school when you were like stuck with your class?
Yeah.
For them, that doesn't change as they keep going on. And so like when you are in your class, you have the same folks in your class, but then the school schedule isn't necessarily like seven periods of class long where you're going class, lunch, class.
Okay.
It's like some days we would be done at 2:00. Some days we'd be done at 1:00. Sometimes we would have like an hour between things in the mornings. It was a lot more like your college class schedule where you kind of had space between stuff to do some work, to do some socializing, and
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a rigid schedule. It was like basically your
like
teacher.
There's almost like the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday were different schedules.
Oh, I got you.
Like
okay.
sometimes on the Fridays it would switch up a little bit. So yeah, definitely much more like your college schedule.
So did you get to do music classes over there then?
They don't have music in the schools most of the time.
Have music.
Yeah, that's usually like so they don't have sports in the schools either for the most part.
No sports either. No. Wow, that would save a lot of money.
Yeah. Definitely made the school itself a lot smaller. Like there's a gym and we had gym class and things like that.
Oh, sure.
It was general fitness stuff.
Okay.
Usually taught by some old guy who like retired from his other teaching job and just was kind of putzing around and yelling at people.
So how did the music thing work over there then? Because apparently a lot of great musicians come out of there. So
private schools, So I think I'm just saying this from my experience. I don't know if this is by design, but having that additional freedom in your day, to be able to go and do those extracurriculars without having to be like, well, I just spent 6.5 hours at school, and then I have to do 3 more hours of extracurricular. So they parse down that school day and concentrate the information a little bit more dialed to what your specific track is supposed to be.
Okay.
And allowing you to, so like I played in orchestra in Rottenau. There's a youth orchestra.
Oh,
orchestra
really?
The youth music school was its own separate building. It was its own separate thing. It was a private school, so I paid it was like 12 euros a month or something. I got a weekly lesson, and I was part of the orchestra. It was like the first time I'd ever done private lessons, really, from a trombone player.
Oh, wow.
Because my band teacher was a French horn player.
Okay.
And so I had some lessons with him, but so that was my first experience with that, and learning how to play and going through method books and Then also talking about what we were doing in the orchestra because he was the conductor of it, and got that experience, which was pretty cool. So I finished school. The town I lived in was about a 30 to 40-minute bus ride, one way.
Yeah.
And so depending on what the day was like, I would either just kind of hang out in town, maybe sit at a bookshop, or there's like internet cafes back in those days.
Yep, I remember them.
Yeah. And just hang out for a while. Or sometimes I would take the bus home, have lunch, come back, hit orchestra, go back, have dinner, and that would be the day.
So what kind of shenanigans did we get into while we were over there then? So
I was actually pretty tame.
Pretty tame?
Yeah.
What?
Every once in a
We're
while.
thousands of miles away from home.
Yeah.
Whole other section.
I hung out a lot with my family, my host family there.
Okay.
Did some stuff with some friends. We traveled around a little bit. We did some meetups with the other exchange folks.
So nothing crazy ever happened?
I mean, I did a lot of drinking, but I mean, not a lot, but
It's
enough.
Germany.
Enough. I was also 18, so a lot of times, like, because my classmates were in the 10th grade, there were certain, every once in a while there was like some restrictions on things that they couldn't buy, and I didn't have those restrictions because I was 18.
Oh.
But yeah, we do little house parties every once in a while. Go to some little discotheques, some little clubs.
Okay.
There's like a live music venue that I went to a couple times. A lot of times it was like singer-songwriter stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. And then just generally hanging out, seeing places. Spent some time in Hamburg when I first got there. It's like a onboarding process. Absolutely love that city. It's so beautiful.
Hamburg.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time hanging out just in like the harbor, just wandering around, just learning the city.
So what was so great about Hamburg then?
Just
the vibe? Or
yeah. Just it's not on the ocean, but it feels like it is.
Okay.
So you have the Elbe River that flows through it, but so there's a big harbor that ships are coming from the North Sea down into Germany, and so then the Elbe connects through into the other major river systems.
Okay.
So it is a somewhat major port in northern Germany, and so you have that kind of port city lifestyle. It has its own like nightlife, things like that. A lot of times, some folks will call it like the German Amsterdam in some ways.
Oh.
Because it does have its own like special party scene.
Gotcha.
And its own like party district and things like that. Yeah.
Red light. Red. Oh.
And it does have a red light district. Yes.
Yes. You didn't happen to walk down into that.
We did sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Just wander around.
What's going on in here?
Pretty much. They had certain streets that were like blocked off by like security guards and stuff like that, just to keep things on the up and up and make sure people weren't bothering the girls and things. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do things. Well, I can't say different, but yeah, it's a little more open at one point. It's probably as open nowadays in America, but
yeah. I mean, they don't have it literally like window shopping.
That's what I was hearing. That's why I was like, okay, well, I wonder if he did that. Yeah, all right.
Just wander through, just check it out.
Gotta do it. Just gotta do it. Just experiences.
Yeah.
All right. So then you got from there, and then you came back home again, and your life is now completely changed.
Yeah.
Because you have a new perspective on everything.
Very,
I'm just putting all this into your mouth for you.
Yeah, it's okay. Right away, had to figure out what the hell I was doing. Ended up in school. I got connected with an old high school friend who he and another guy were starting this band. And they were trying to figure stuff out, and they couldn't figure out who to play. And he and I had talked about a different project. He was living in Denver at the time. We were trying to get connected, and things weren't working out. And then I moved away and came back. I ran into him. I can't remember even how any of it happened. But we ended up doing quite a few shows with this band called Gone Away, which...
Gone Away.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Kyle at the time, Kyle Thiel was his name, he was also trying to help grow the music scene further in Dickinson. So he started a website called DickinsonBands.com. This was when Ken Kabishta had bought the Music Mart and was starting to expand that, getting into that era of like what Jay was talking about.
Okay.
And we had this, like, for a year or two, we had this cool explosion of, like, young people in their, like, mid-20s and younger getting together and making music and having some spaces to do this. We had the band shell for our, like, summertime concerts.
Okay.
And we had a little bit of space at the Music Mart. And when they moved to it was like an old building next to the fire station. And I'm not even sure, like, it had, like, a store on the bottom floor and there was apartments on top. It's kind of like one of those old downtown.
Kinda like the old Kirby's.
Yeah, yeah. And in the basement, they put together a stage in, like, a concert area.
Okay.
Yeah, it was called, I think, the Underground. So we had a bunch of shows down there.
That's unique.
Yeah, I know, right? It was very, very clever. And then I think at some point then they built a stage in the store because there were some issues with the city and it not being completely up to code. There was no elevator for handicapped. Yeah, and so
Gotcha.
it became that whole thing. So then we did some shows up in the main area as well. But for Gone Away, we were a little unique at the time because.
What do you mean by unique?
So we did. This was like circa like 2004.
Okay.
2005 time frame, and we were playing with modeling amps, like not even an amp.
Like the old Line 6.
Yeah, like Line 6 pods and stuff like that, running direct into soundboards. We had no amps on stage.
Interesting.
We also had no drummer. We had a.
You don't need drummers.
Because that was the hardest. Always the hardest person to get.
Yeah, they take up so much space and air.
Yeah. And so they had programmed all these drums. Like, this is old Cool Edit Pro days and like Reason 1.0.
You actually know what Cool Edit Pro is. I
Yeah.
thought I was the only person besides one of my other good friends.
Yeah.
That's
and
sweet.
Yeah, they had pulled us all together and I was playing guitar. Jeff and I were flipping between guitar and bass back and forth. I had this djembe that I had brought back from Germany. And so like there was one song that was really cool on, so I was always playing that during that song. And so like we had some unique elements.
So is this what you were talking about before we got started about this server tower thing you
Yeah,
brought on that we're
yeah.
trying to get all these backing tracks to work
Yeah,
on?
because like back in that day, like
With Cool
it
Edit
was like
Pro.
old school PAs didn't like most sound guys were like, you want me to do what now?
Yeah.
And like we could write the exact instructions and like the exact settings they would need to put on their board, and they'd still mess it up somehow because they're like, oh no, they're like, well, where do I put this microphone? I'm like, I don't know. Like you can
So you're just miking speakers off the computer then? Is that how you're doing it?
Well, like direct off of the Line 6 pods. So
Okay.
for guitar and bass, and then
I'm just
I think
talking
we
about
had some, and then I think we had some vocal effects, and then the computer itself.
Yep.
'Cause a lot of times, like a CD player, no matter how we burned the CD and like what speeds and like tried all kinds of things.
Yep.
I think Kyle had access to some professional equipment because he worked at the radio station or like an AM radio
Gotcha.
station.
Okay, yep.
And so they had some pretty high tech stuff there, but he couldn't get it to normalize. And so then we have these huge peaks and valleys on different tracks.
Oh.
And it wouldn't, like, it was the compression of the CD itself was messing with it. And to be able to play it correctly on just any CD player, we had to have some of that in there. And so it was a learning curve. And so at some point we just said, screw it, we're just taking the computer with us. And this was before like really cool looking like LAN cases, and like this was old school like beige.
Oh yeah, the beige boxes.
Yeah.
They're
So
beautiful. They're beautiful.
Yeah. It's like the old like full size computer tower. You could fit like 8 disk drives in it.
Oh
and,
man.
Yeah, it was huge. So yeah, we would lug that thing and a CRT monitor because that's all that existed at the time. Really,
Of course.
to some shows and have that running in the background somewhere.
Man.
But
That'd
yeah,
be so interesting. Yeah. Now it's like we're working on getting our backing tracks and stuff going on. I just use my laptop on that one, so I got a good old Mac Pro from 2012, and run Ableton 11, and that thing can run our backing tracks. It can run our lighting show. We can do a bunch of like not slideshows, maybe even put like videos and stuff up, and they'll all sync together. I mean, thing's freaking crazy.
Yeah.
But I'll have to show that to you before we leave here.
yeah, totally. But yeah, back in the old days, we had
Yep.
Just to-
Cool Edit
just
Pro,
all-
and you
just to
don't
hit
do
play.
too many tracks so it doesn't lag out.
Yep, exactly. And then
Those WAV files just killed those things.
yeah, we would drive around in a Buick. We did our touring because we didn't have to bring amps, so we didn't have to bring a drum set. It was 3 guys and
You didn't have
like
to bring a
some
drum set.
totes and some totes of shit. And so it was a nice compact, but it was definitely difficult, especially back then because a lot of places didn't really have a PA, or they had a PA just for like the vocals.
Yep.
And that was it. No monitors, nothing. And so we would roll up and be like, well, this is kind of a mistake. It was difficult and it was hard, but we made it work, and we had some good shows, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
So that definitely does sound unique at the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is.
And then ended up
so interesting.
moving to Fargo and bouncing around Fargo for a while.
Why did you move to Fargo? What inspired this entire move? Because that's like 5 hours
Yeah,
off to the east. Now, granted, you went way farther than that before into Germany, but
Yeah.
this is definitely not Germany.
No, it's not. Not even close, really.
No, I wouldn't think so.
I decided I wanted to study theater instead of music because I was also a theater kid, and I was like, okay, I'm going to give that a shot. Met a professor from NDSU.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is really cool stuff. She's really neat, and like, then came to NDSU.
Is that Catherine Noon then, or
No, it was way before her time.
Oh, okay.
But after that, like that first year, I was like, maybe this isn't like the most sustainable career choice. So I started really doubting it. I was like, what am I gonna? I wasn't really connecting any dots as far as like what I could continue doing. It's like I should probably just start making some money somehow, and just figuring out who I am and what I should be doing.
Okay.
And ended up getting. When I was in high school, I thought one of the coolest things to be able to do was to like run a video store, like do the Quentin Tarantino, Kevin Smith, like live that kind of life, be like the local movie game guru.
That's
nerd.
right.
Yeah.
Tarantino did start at a movie shop.
Yeah.
That's where he was writing all of his scripts. I just learned about this a couple of weeks ago.
He,
Thanks, Joe Rogan.
He stole all his ideas for movies. Was a bunch of foreign films.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So ended up doing that. Was managing a store for a while, and that was also about the time that Netflix started to do a little bit of streaming.
Okay, was all this in Fargo then?
It was all in Fargo. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you started off at NDSU, where you started off at DSU when you came back.
Yep.
Then you did that band thing, and then you came to Fargo
Yep.
to do some drama, and then you realized after a year that it probably isn't too cool, and then you started managing Blockbuster? Or
no,
what
it was a Take-Two video. Local.
Oh, Take-Two.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And did that for a while.
Used to love Take-Two. When he always said it was like if you could reach it, you could rent it. So that was basically how it went. They had all like the bad movies on top, and we just reach them off the thing.
You're not the little Take-Two kid in the commercials, are you?
No, I'm not. But
okay,
I'm
just checking. Like, is that him?
No.
You're famous.
No, I know Jack. I used to work with him.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, you seem a little older than him. But
he does a bunch of the booking up at the aquarium and stuff.
Oh,
So,
does he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my kids played the aquarium more than I have. So
Yeah, probably.
I miss Take-Two, and I miss I used to work in Blockbuster from '96 to about '98.
Yeah.
About a year and a half.
It's like
there.
a whole different thing.
It
Like it's just
was.
something that doesn't exist anymore. It's a whole.
Yeah. We used to have one of those literally like a couple
We're-
blocks from here.
We were the movie buffs. People
Yeah.
come in, they could be like, I need a movie. It's got Jean-Claude. You need like 2 words, and you'd tell
Exactly.
them, oh, it's that one right there.
Yeah.
And Lionheart. Okay, yeah, it's right over there.
You just walk them right
Yep.
over to it. This one.
And now they got the internet. They can just look it up. And
Yeah. Have it at their fingertips whenever they want to watch it. Yeah, we had red boxes popping up at the time, and a bunch of the other like Premiere Video was closing up at the shop and stuff, and just at some point then, and it was
on the downfall.
End of an era.
It was
kind of like newspapers.
It was really hard. It was really hard to like get employees. It was really hard to stay staffed. It was really hard to like continue to like make things go up, and so I got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore, and moved back to Dickinson. I bounced back and forth a few times, and then decided it was like, all right, maybe I should like finish the school thing, and then that's where we ended up running into each
Oh,
other.
serious? So
Yeah.
you were back in Dickinson and came back
Yep.
again and decided to go for the illustrious career of music
Yeah, I know.
instead of drama?
know.
Jeez, man.
I was working for Walmart prior to that, and
Ooh, Wally.
yeah, they were talking about like, oh, you'd be perfect for like the management training track. And I was like, I'm going back to school. I don't even care. I don't even care for what. Like, I'm gonna figure something out. I'm not turning into
That was like me
lifer
at
here.
the Pizza Hut over here in Moorhead. They wanted to give me the store, and I just
Yeah.
quit.
Yeah.
There on the spot. I was like, I'm gone. I can't do this. And I
It was
know you'll talk
basically-
me into it eventually.
Yeah, basically it was like, have you ever considered that? You'd be really good at that. And I was like, I'm actually thinking about going to school. I'm like, for what? I'm like, music. I'm like, okay. And so started to look that up and
Fast forward.
got into
did
that.
you?
And yeah, did my stint there.
So you're playing during all this time, or just for yourself?
Well,
or?
yeah. So I think prior to even getting into NDSU, there was a band that I had come across a few times, and I had seen around the Fargo area called Venus and Furs.
Oh yes,
Yep.
there you go,
And so
Adam.
And then I got connected.
We got to get Adam on here. We really
connected
do.
with Adam. He's got a lot of stories too.
Yeah, he does.
And he's got his own radio show as well.
I know on
yeah.
Sunday nights.
Yep,
On
Ken's
Sunday-
FM 89.1.
Yep, I try sharing his stuff as much as I can. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's been fun to listen how he's evolved his radio voice, and
Oh really?
yeah, it's been
I guess I haven't tuned in. I probably should do that.
yeah, like hearing the evolution of how he's been doing his show has been really fun.
Okay.
But they needed a guitar player. They were just kind of like coming out of this big dry spell where they didn't really do anything at all.
Okay.
And they needed somebody, I think, for a show in like a couple months or something, or like a month. And so then I sat down and plugged away and learned all the tunes and showed up and figured out got in the band, I guess. And we played our first show together in Minneapolis at the Fine Line. So
Oh really?
yeah, fairly large
Yeah,
stage.
that's
so.
a great venue to get into.
Yeah,
I
it was
mean,
a
people don't
wild
just walk
trip.
over there.
It was a lot of fun. And then just stayed with it for, gosh, I don't know, like 3 years, 4 years, something like that.
You were in Venus and Furs for that long?
Yeah, it was
Really?
a long time.
Wow. Okay.
Probably 3 years, I think.
So no, I played in there with you for a couple of months.
Yep.
That's about
Yeah,
it.
we were always trying to figure out who. It was a rough time of trying to just get a solid lineup that stayed
Well,
with original.
it's
music.
original music,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the
So it's
hardest
like,
part.
yeah, we got a show in 6 weeks. Okay.
All right, here you go. Here, learn these 5 songs.
Yep.
And we'll do the thing, and yeah, did that. We did some cover band stuff together, and
Oh yeah.
did
Yeah,
some.
we did that.
I had like a short-lived little like electro rock band called the Corpsettes for a while.
The corpse.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Did some stuff with
awesome,
old
Dave.
Todd Rajishka with Immune System,
Yes. Yes.
which you also played in for a while.
Yep.
And
Yes,
then,
I did.
I ended up.
Love Todd. Good
yeah.
guy.
Haven't heard from him in a while.
Either have I.
Yeah.
Maybe we should reach out to him. Todd, if you're out there or you hear about this, yeah. Hi.
Yeah.
Let's give a shout out to him.
And then I moved back to Dickinson again, and reconnected with I forgot a whole other band that when I was in Dickinson, when I was still playing with Gone Away, I got connected with this group, and they needed a new lead singer. So that was like my first like frontman experience, and they did just a lot of like kind of indie alt rock covers and stuff, and they had done some bar gigs before, and like they were kind of established, and they actually had a practice space in the old Music Mart,
Oh, wow.
and like the old place
Coming
where,
back full circle.
yeah, and so got connected with them. I actually lived at that place for like a month or two, which was super sketchy at the time. It was not.
Doing what
Really-
musicians do.
Yeah, pretty much just found a corner somewhere and put a bed there, and reconnected with the guitar player from that, Nick Romanishin, and we started a cover band out in Western North Dakota called the Midtowners, and toured
Okay.
around all the small town bars. We had a lot of fun. Just a little 3-piece, just rocking hard, and just working
Working, making
Yep.
some cash.
pretty much. All those small town bar gigs are a lot of fun.
They can be. Oh, they can be.
But it is a lot more work than sometimes people will realize.
Oh, yeah, you don't have to tell us.
Yeah.
What, running a band? Or
Yeah,
just being in a band?
Just being in a
Being
band.
in a band.
And just the setup every day, then a different bar the next night.
Yep.
Yep.
Everyone just thinks it's all glamorous.
Well, we were out because we're out in Western North Dakota, so sometimes we'd be like, all right, we're in Scranton one night, and then we're in, I think the furthest that we went was like Scranton to Garrison the next night.
Garrison.
So we would drive down to Scranton, do the gig, drive back home, sleep for 6 hours or so.
Yep.
Trailer's already loaded. Get our asses in the truck, drive up to Garrison, load up for another show, play the show, and I think then we usually would get.
Do you got any pictures of that?
Not in that folder. No,
Okay.
I didn't pull any of those.
Oh, that would have
Yeah.
been nice.
Yeah, it would have been good ones to have.
That would have been nice. Because basically, let's see, you were the one that gave me that electronic drum kit, right? That Yamaha?
No.
Was that you or was it Jay?
Is that the one you threw off the roof?
No, I didn't.
No, I don't believe so.
I'm just
okay.
kidding.
Jay had an old Roland that got passed from an old roommate of mine to me to Jay.
He still has that.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it was just an old Roland.
Who gave me that Yamaha then? Because I'm giving it to E.
Okay. Cool.
'Cause he was on the podcast a little bit
Yeah.
ago, and we were talking about him playing drum set now,
Yeah.
getting back into doing some drumming type thing. Maybe even
Yeah.
get him to like an actual gig type situation.
cool.
That guy's good. So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what he does on drum set, but this perfect opportunity. And I still have that electronic kit that's just been sitting in basically storage, and I just needed to get cables for it. Got the cables for it, and I thought you were part of that. So sorry if you weren't. Oh,
Maybe
well.
I was. I don't even remember. So much gear over the years.
I don't know. So E will be getting that here probably in the next
That's awesome.
week. Hopefully I'll have enough time to get over there and get it for him.
Very cool.
So, but we need to get on to what is going on this weekend besides Guns N' Roses tonight, which I am completely jealous for everybody.
That's tonight?
There.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
happening right
tonight.
now.
It's happening right now.
I
They
gotta
probably just
go.
hit the stage.
I gotta go right now.
Cito's abandoning ship. I heard lots of good things about it too. As people were saying that Axel's sounding great, so hopefully he's not just trying to do or singing a backing track.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that went through my mind. But and they're not being all pretentious. They're actually getting out there on time as of what they state they're going to
Not
be.
causing
out there.
riots and
Yeah, and all that fun stuff. So it should be a great show for everyone out there. So, man, I wish I was there. I know I asked for it for my birthday, but I got a dog instead, which I am completely grateful for. Really like my little puppers. So, Cito, what's going on this weekend?
I'll tell you. All right. Hey, how you doing, Wade? Let's get this little report up here. How do we do the pictures again, Wade? Because I can't find it. I don't know where the weekend report is.
The weekend report. Up.
Weekly report?
Yep, weekly report.
Yeah, but I thought I kicklet. That's the.
Yep, click on it.
It puts my camera. See, I haven't been here for a couple weeks. I had a mini vacation, and Brady was taking over, and then I had a gig going on, and see, I forgot what I'm doing over here. So
We love having him here, though.
yes,
Oh, my gosh.
I'm really enjoying our guests tonight. I'm having a fun time listening to this. So here's our report. We get to this. The out of town. The O has Frantic Anarchy. That's our friend Jay's band, isn't it? No. I got the wrong name, band. Sorry about that.
Yep.
That's happening. Frantic Anarchy is happening on Friday and Saturday, and then the DAC Jam Music and Art Fest in Minot. That's going on Wednesday to Saturday.
Wednesday through Saturday. yes.
Okay. And then we got the North Dakota State Fair in Minot. Vince Neil is out
On
there
tonight, going against Guns N' Roses.
make sure you want to see some history. Go out there and check it out. The Laughing Sun Brewery in Bismarck, Mandan. That used to be our favorite place, but I think we have a new favorite place now. So sorry, Laughing Sun. The Prairie Chickens is out there on Thursday. And then, of course, we have to put ourselves in here. The Roadhouse on Cormont Lake. We're there out there on Saturday. We'll be rocking it out in the lakes area. And then we got the Uptown Report with Windbreak. Aaron Simmons is out on Thursday. And then we're going to be out there. Oh, we're really self-advertising ourselves.
Again, on
We're
Friday.
we're the worst at it. Uptown is on Friday. I'll even make myself more happier on it. Uptown on Friday, guys. Make sure you check it out. And then on Saturday, the late night is out there. So, no, late night's a good friends of ours, too. I'm glad they're out there on Saturday. They're going to have a good Aaron is out there. So, Shooting Star, we got Bella Diva. Yes. Friday and Saturday. I'm not too sure what that band is, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, 3 very nice looking females.
Oh, all right. Well, make sure if you're out there in the Mahnomen area, check it out. The Fargo Theater has Robert Cray. That's that the blues player?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Make sure you go out
Fargo.
there.
Oh, man. Yep. We weren't playing. That'd be a place.
That's a good surprise right there. The TAC. We got the Sleep Signals on Thursday, and then Dirt Monkey on Saturday.
That's got to be the name of the week.
Yeah.
Dirt Monkey.
Dirt Monkey. And then the downtown, we got Tailgirls. We got, I'm out there. Retrolution's out there on Thursday. I like how the spell checker is telling me on the monitor here. I think it's Retrolution, not Retrolution. Luscian. Yeah.
I failed.
Yeah. It's okay. We all make mistakes. Side Street Grill, we got Mick Klein out there on Thursday, and then Island Park. The 6-String Circus is out there Saturday doing their
McLovin.
Yep, McLovin doing his acoustic thing. And then the Roundup Saloon, we have Rick Adams, and also I know Chris Argenziano is playing with Rick Adams tonight too. Oh wow! I saw that update. So
really? Okay.
Yep, I think I saw that on the Facebook. So make sure you go check those two out. The Sons of Norway, we got the Moving Parts.
Yep,
the Moving Parts. So is that a band or is that a show?
I would assume it's a band.
They're like, we are the moving parts. I'm bad. I got dad jokes all the time. All right, downtown. We got downtown up on the roof. You can get the best double bacon cheeseburger you're gonna have in all town at that place right there.
On the roof.
On the roof, 701. We got JT Kennelly on Wednesday. That's tonight.
Yep.
That's happening at right now. So we got the Fargo VFW, Smith & Lovin, 6-String Circus. They're getting busy, aren't they?
They are. They're really working this weekend.
Yeah. They sweat when they're playing, guys, so they're trying hard. Make sure you go out there and give them good applause and you know what they deserve. So, and all the acoustic players, you know, they're all working hard. So
yes,
the pit, we're almost gonna have to have one that says the acoustic corner or something. You know,
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, it's
we might
so
have
big
to
now.
refine it into something like that.
It's big time. So the Pit 611 Ottoman has the Dead Beats, and our good friend John Winters out there playing with them. So make sure you go check that out on Saturday. The Edgewood Tavern way up north, Doug Thompson's doing his acoustic show on Thursday out there in the patio. And then the DCR Brewing Company, we got Slay in the Alleyway.
Slay in the Alleyway.
And that's on Saturday.
Big metal fest coming up here.
And you guys make sure you check all your local listings and check their websites and everything to make sure, you know, you get details and start times, because a lot of that can change any time of the week or any time. So make sure you do that. And also, you guys, make sure you guys, if you guys are new to our the podcast here, make sure you guys are subscribing to us. Just hit that shamash that like button that wherever you see it on your YouTube, and make sure you guys are doing that.
And comment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we got more. We got Dempsey's. We got the Buffalo Galaxy on Friday. Passion on Saturday. The Aquarium has Grimley, G, Regal, and Skrilla. 3. Oh, jeez.
How would you even say that?
Is this
supposed to be an emoji thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it wrong. It's 3XP. Thrips. High Elevation, Too Critical, the MIC, and that's all happening Friday night. That looks like it's going to be a good party, man. So just get a ticket out there, go to the Aquarium. Tommy Sunshine, Woody McBride, Saturday night. And then the Cellar is the comedy club.
Yep.
They have open mic night happening now tonight. And then J.R. D. Guzman and Mo Yaquib. Is that the thing I saw with the acoustic? They play music and comedy?
Yes, I believe so.
I saw a promotion for that, and that looks really fun. So make sure you guys go check that out at the Comedy Club on Friday. And then the Hall, the Fargo Brewing Company, the Hall has 10 Years with Saul happening tonight. Okay. And then Corey Taylor is on Thursday.
Slipknot.
Yep. And that's it. That's it right there for the weekend in downtown, uptown, outtown report. If you guys have any reports you want to give to us, just feel free to email us at our, do we have a contact to email?
Our email is at uptowntonightpodcast@gmail.com. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And again, at Uptown Tonight Podcast.
Yeah, just send us a notice, and you know, we'll get your name up here too. You know, So thank you so much, and I'll give it back to you, Wade.
Cito looks so good in that hat. He really does. That thing is awesome. So, what are you up to nowadays?
Nowadays, so
Because we went from drama to managing to music school.
then I started to work in technology.
Yeah, tech. Yeah,
Yeah.
we completely skipped over
yeah.
that, but yeah,
Whole other
we'll
ball
get
of
to
wax.
that
Yeah.
when we bring
was
you
an
back. at some
engineer,
point.
developer, project manager, development manager,
just
all
boring
kinds.
stuff.
Just all boring
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
We just made.
I build things.
Yeah, we just built stuff. It went out there. You play with it on your phone.
Because this is the coolest thing ever. Is at one point I remember how all this started. Is that you posted that you wanted to become Wolverine for Halloween, but you wanted to do it natural. You didn't want to do it with like whatever costuming stuff that you'd have to do.
Yeah,
to
like
make yourself-
stuffing and stuff like that.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden,
yeah.
you're now where you're at. And
Yeah.
that was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? Or was it longer?
It was on 4.5 years
Four.
ago.
I'm
Yeah, it's
just
been a
getting
while.
old. Sorry.
Yeah. It's been a long time. We've known each other a long time, Wade.
My lord. Yes.
It's
been good.
No, I got to a point where like I ended up working in just a brief stint in Manila, training some folks, just like a few weeks, and I got like pictures back from hanging out with them, and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm fat!" And like they always like stuck me behind.
That's tough
like,
to admit.
Yeah, and then you're on like
Aw.
international flights, like stuck between two tiny Asian ladies, and they see you, and they're like, "Oh shit, I gotta sit next to this guy." Crap. And yeah, decided I needed to do something, but being the like nerdy kid, the musician, the drama kid, like I did like 1 year of 7th grade football. That's just about. Besides that and marching band, that was like the most athletic things I'd ever done in my entire life. Not saying that marching band isn't athletic. It's just not exactly
No, you don't
conducive
think of,
to
yeah.
like, functional skills in the real world.
You're not running a marathon after you just
No,
marching a show. yet.
Exactly. Yeah. You're usually freaking exhausted and you have a shower beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Couple of them.
Yeah, exactly. And didn't know where to start and decided I needed to do some things. I started to, if you ever watched the TV show Lost, after a while there, I started to look like Hurley with like straight hair because at that time my hair was really long, but I was straightening
I
it.
wish I had a picture of that.
I should have pulled that one because that used to be my passport photo.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I was big. It was about almost like 300 pounds. It was
What?
45-50% body fat at the time. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
lot.
I
And,
can understand now.
Yeah, and I needed to make a change, and I found this place called Ice House up in like just off of downtown of Fargo, and decided like, all right, they were doing this like boot camp thing because I had no idea what the hell I was doing or like what changes were like with like body composition. Like most people don't have any idea.
I have zero.
Yeah, and so
drink
I thought
water.
that, okay, I'm gonna do this like 6-week thing, this 6-week challenge boot camp thing that they're gonna do, and I'm just gonna get ripped. I'm gonna look so amazing that I'm never gonna have to work out again in my life, or like I'll just deal with it
Yes.
again. Like, yeah,
Like Masters of the Universe.
exactly. I was just gonna turn into an action figure, because that's how.
I watched that show, Wade. You were right. It's not good. I slept
Is
10
it not
minutes
good?
into it.
Oh,
Um,
now you're gonna make me want to watch it just
No,
for the cringe factor.
Don't do it. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Cito and I, when we were in the van, we always get in the movies. And
Yeah.
lately, it's been Clint Eastwood, and then we were talking about Masters of the Universe because they had that
Because
reboot.
Yeah.
Netflix when it came out, and he goes, "Nah, I heard it was crap," and I watched it today for 10 minutes with my son, and I got mad. Oh, we got mad. And,
Oh no, what happened? I think we lost our camera. So
Uh-oh.
my guess
Might have
is
just
that the
turned off.
battery just died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
battery
there we go.
dies, There we go. I thought the lights went out. So yeah, just whatever. Just
It's
slap
our
in
new
the
camera. We
face.
haven't figured
I
out.
don't even care if anyone wants to watch it or not. Just don't waste your time.
With the Masters of the Universe.
Nope.
um,
All right, but back to what you're doing. Sorry,
it's
sidetrack.
okay. Yeah, trying to remember where I was talking, but.
You're 6 weeks. You're
6
gonna look like
weeks.
an action figure. Yep.
Yeah, and that was not what happened. But I
Oh.
realized that I enjoyed fitness and doing like working out, and just kept with it. over time, I learned so much just passively by being around a lot of great coaches and learning a lot about, what do we do with our bodies? What does it take to make changes? And that introduced me to because I was never a sport person. I didn't really like any team sports and things like that too. But introduced me to a sport
ball.
Yeah, exactly. Introduced me to a sport that I actually really love now that I wouldn't have ever been exposed to.
And what is that?
It's called weightlifting, or most people would know it as Olympic weightlifting.
Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah. So it's the one that's in the Olympics. That's why it gets called that. But in the Olympic program, it's just called weightlifting. It's a whole thing.
Is like power the one you lift?
So it is a measure of power, the lifts that we do perform, but powerlifting is a whole other sport.
I mean, is that what it's called though? Like when they lift up is that
I
what
think
you're
the
saying?
cleans and jerks and all
Yeah.
that fun stuff.
I'm confused with Olympic working out. Like, is that the program? Like you're working out to be an Olympian?
No, that's the sport. It's just the
Okay.
sport. So it's
Okay.
the sport that happens to be in the Olympics.
Oh, okay.
And so it's 2 lifts, the snatch and the clean and jerk,
Oh.
which are the 2 events, I guess. The goal is to pick up a barbell loaded up with weight from the floor to overhead. With a snatch, it's with one fluid movement and a wide grip. With the clean and jerk, it's a compound movement where you get it to your shoulder with a narrower grip and then punch it overhead.
That's what I meant.
Just
by
like
power.
He-Man.
Yeah.
We're like, because their cheeks are out here and their
Yeah.
legs are shaking.
Yeah, and so I got introduced to that and started competing as a weightlifter. Then started to get exposed to coaching education. I took my USA Weightlifting Level 1 course, and which qualified me to be a coach, like in the certificate perspective.
Okay.
Got to learn more and more from lots of people in the industry that are coaching. I ended up going to Miami for a while to get my Level 2 certification, hanging out with former Olympians.
This is Grinsteiner right there. Grinsteiner 101. He just dives in and he finds where he needs to go.
It's good old-
going that far just to
Good old ADHD hyperfixation.
Yeah. It's I would say it's beautiful
Yeah.
and a disease all at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. But like it's really fun because I get to say that like I've hung out with former Olympians, not just like one, like many of them. Like I took my Level 2 with a former Olympian
Nice.
because she was taking it at the same time, and got to sit and talk to them and pick their brains and learn about how they coach or learn about how they evolved as an athlete. I met a bunch of awesome folks that I still talk to this day. Like it was a great networking opportunity. I met great friends. I met great professionals, and then that really, because I was still working in technology at the time, it really helped to give me that push towards realizing that coaching and helping people is what I wanted to do. Like I still love the sport. I love coaching weightlifting, but not everybody needs to snatch and clean and jerk. Like it's not a necessity. It's not it's not necessarily going to be like the program that gives you 6-pack abs or anything like that. Like if that's your goal, then probably not the program that you would want to do. We'd have something different for you. And so then that led me down the whole other rabbit holes of strength and conditioning, learning about exercise physiology and science, and just what does this meat robot suit that we pilot around, how does it work? How do we make it change? How do we get it to do the things we want it to do?
Yes.
Yeah. And so now I coach full time. That's all I do is I coach full time. I lift myself. I hang out with my dog.
See, I can see this role more in your wheelhouse already because I know just how much you care about people and just the things that you do for everybody. And now you guys have something that's going to be rewarding back to you. I can really see this really being. This might be the last little endeavor that you just dive down into, which would be.
Might be stuck here.
But
it's
that's
cool.
not Grinsteiner-esque.
No, we'll see.
But
I tend to get a little bored with things, but the cool thing with this is that while human bodies don't really like change, our understanding can change a little bit, but usually it's my evolution as a coach of my experience working with other folks. Like if I tell, like I'm working with both of you, what works for Wade might not work for Cito. Like
what?
Like it's like things. I might tell you one thing, and I might tell him another thing. Making sure that I'm trying to get the same result, but it might take me a different path to get there. So it's really fun because my background in technology and even my background in music, because in music you have to learn how to work with people, you have to learn to listen to people, you
It's
have to
problem solving,
and then problem
Figuring out
solving
that
of the
puzzle.
engineering side, like listening to people, what they want, what they need. Like sometimes what they want and what they need are two different things. And being able to be the person to say, all right, well, okay, if this is what we want to do, this is what we're going to need to do to get there, and lay out the plan and be the guide to get them to their goals. My mission statement that I put forward for myself was that I want to be the guide that I wish I had when I got started, or before I got started. I want to be that Gandalf guiding along the path.
Okay.
Obi-Wan
The
Kenobi.
inspiration at the same time.
Yeah, so like, I just want to be able to push them in the right directions without having to be like, all right, spoon feed. Here you go. I want you to be able to learn on your own. Be able to teach people on how their body works, how to listen to their body, how to manage their stress, how to eat well without having to feel like you have to be on a diet all the time. How to enjoy your life and live your life.
And Grinsteiner's a great cook too.
I'm all right.
No, he's good. No, but relieving stress and all that stuff, yeah, with all this thing. That's what I've noticed, especially after like hard teardowns and stuff like that. You get home and all of a sudden, just like besides that stage buzz, that you just have those endorphins that hit you. Also, just from
you're getting
from
stronger, Wade.
Yeah,
every
not as strong as Cito. He's done some things there. I was like, what? That's not. How'd you do that? So.
And you know, all I do is I've been just shadow boxing for about a year. That's no weights, nothing. Just I do about a half-hour routine, almost nightly or every other night.
You know, it doesn't have to be complicated.
No,
you know, honestly, the simpler that something is, especially when you're talking about fitness, we as coaches, especially when we get deep into all the nerdy shit that we like to learn about, sometimes we overcomplicate stuff. Like that's just a human thing that happens.
Oh yeah.
But whatever you can do as a person consistently, and just finding some way to move consistently without blowing out the calories. Like if you're not eating like an asshole and you get out there and you move a while, you're probably all right.
It's really simple. Just eat half of what you ate before. Start eating fruits in the morning. Yeah. You know, cut a candy bar out of your diet. I mean, I've heard pop is amazing.
It is.
But
like if
that's the one thing I can't give up.
You can't give up. Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of people who've cut that out and they drop like 10 pounds just like that. But everybody's a little different, and everybody sometimes needs a guide. Sometimes they just need that accountability, and that's what I'm here for.
But you should have fun working out, though, because I've had fun doing boxing. I put on certain TV. Yeah. I'll do it late at night when no one's up, because I don't like knowing when they're walking out there. What are you doing, Dad? And I'm like, punching the wall.
In your underwear.
But it seems to work out, and you said consistency, and that's what it is. It's if you do it, everything, you'll start seeing results.
Yeah, so like in my sport, it's highly there is strength involved. We have to be strong, but we have to be fast and powerful and explosive, but we also have to be accurate. And so, like for me, being able to have something consistent that I can come back to, I used to say that it's like a meditative practice for me, because you have to kind of clear your mind and be able to, because if you have too much shit happening in your head, when you go to throw 200 pounds over your head,
yeah, just sometimes the precision has to be there.
And you said you guys were 300 pounds when you started this, and there was a point in 2006. I got pictures of me with my second kid, and I got up to about 280. Yeah, and I was really just like this chubby guy. Like I was like, who is that in the picture? So then softball, and now I'm happy where I'm at now. So that's all I can say. When you said you were the fitness guy, I'm like, yeah, he lost a lot of weight, so it's good for him. So
and now I'm squatting and pulling and throwing heavy weights over my head. Moderately heavy. I'm not that strong.
That's the reward.
It'll get bigger. It'll get bigger.
Yeah.
So, you want a little juvenile destruction?
What's that?
You want a little juvenile destruction?
Let's do it.
Oh, man. We got a little off the roof for this week.
Oh, I put the gas cam. Sorry. Wait, you're the best.
Go. Straight up. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Perfect game too. You're hired.
Oh man.
There's this week's off-dealer riff. Yes. All right. So, Mr. Jeremy, so now you're doing this coaching thing, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're looking for more clients, I'm assuming. Or
yeah,
are you booked?
So I'm actually a little bit booked right now, but
Ooh,
so the
not a
facility
bad.
that I work at, Ice House Fit, we are always looking for other folks. We've got other coaches as well that.
This is the Ice House Fit right next to Drecker Brewing.
Correct. It's down on First Avenue in Fargo, just off downtown. We are a strength and conditioning facility. The thing that sets us apart, that's different, what we do compared to everybody else, is that everybody we work with has a custom program. We don't do anything cookie cutter or one size fits all. So we meet you where you are, and we talk to you. We always start everything with a conversation to learn about you and your goals, so that I'm not giving you something that doesn't fit. Like if you can't touch your toes, I'm probably not going to make you pick up heavy things right from the floor. Puts you in a disadvantaged position. It increases your risks, and it just doesn't give you the benefits that you need to. So we'll get you into those areas that might be functional for you so that you can live your life without feeling like you're in pain. If you have those day-to-day things that you do, like if you got back pain that's coming up all the time when you do certain activities, we can take a look and do our functional movement screen and see if there's something that might be, as far as a muscle imbalance, that we can help treat with some strength programming. And then adding in that conditioning, that cardio element in ways that keep people engaged and that's fun, either within that, that could be in a one-on-one setting, so private training, or it can be in a group fitness class.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. So when you do have some openings, where can they find you at?
You can check out our website at icehousefit.com. We have our intro. So even if you want to come out and check out the facility, you can do a free intro session with us. You can book that right on the website. You can find a time, meet with one of our coaches, and we'll get to know you and show you around what we do and see if it might be a good fit for you, and get you in the queue pretty much.
Nice.
To see when we can get you connected with a coach that is available. We also have some events that are coming up too, if that's cool.
Go ahead, lay them out.
So yeah, we got this Saturday at 7:01 on the rooftop. We have
the roof.
On the roof, yeah.
Someone's gonna steal that from me.
We have a little event called Movement and Mimosas.
So I saw that.
So you can come out. I think it's at 10 o'clock. You come out and we have just a little workout. We talk a little bit about areas that people can improve on. Just have some fun. Do a little workout, have some adult beverages after the fact. Nice little way to spend an hour in the morning. It's close to the Red River Market, so you can wander downtown, still enjoy the rest of your Saturday without having to feel like you completely sold it all out.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only event we got going on right now.
Okay.
But otherwise, icehousefit.com. We are also icehousefit on all the major social media platforms, your Facebooks, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn,
I've
Twitter.
noticed that. They had a whole stream of stuff underneath their little thing.
Yeah, we got everything.
But we still got some photos we got to run through here
yeah.
real quick. And
Oh, yeah, so that was a fairly...
See, powerlifting.
there we go.
Cheeks out.
Exactly. When I'm repping my nerd cred right there with my Dragon Ball Z
Nice.
armor there. Yeah, my Vegeta
Yep.
Saiyan armor. Got me mid pull on a power clean.
There we go.
Yeah, this was fairly early on. I think that was within my first year.
Yeah, look
yeah.
at the mop on the boy.
Yeah, still had a lot more hair.
That was 1 year of the program.
That was after 1 year.
After
Yeah.
being chubs. And then
Yeah, I had
look at your
dropped down.
shoulders, too.
I had dropped down to, I think my smallest was about 215. Yeah. Which is probably where I was about then.
High school weight right
Yeah.
there.
So this is backdickensandbands.com on the watermark there. You can see this was Gone Away. There's a drum kit in the back from like another band that was like after us or before us. Can't quite remember. But this was down in that underground. It had cheesy,
there you go.
cheesy graffiti done by like 16-year-olds all over the place. It was a wild place. It did. But that's Kyle Thiel there on the vocals, and I think you can kind of see Jeff's bass there. But yeah, we were playing a show down there. Yeah. This was us playing at Armies West.
Armies.
As you can see, all three of us.
I'm still waiting for us to get booked there
Yeah.
sometime. No, you don't want to wait Armies. I
wanna
don't know.
drive
I just
6
want to
hours
see the
to
place. Everyone
Dickinson.
talks about it.
Well, there it is. That's probably what
Van
it still
will
looks
not
like.
the hills wave.
Oh,
These
that's
hills
true.
that go up miles.
Our Millennium Falcon.
No.
And then that was fairly recently. That was March of 2020 at the Arnold Sports Festival. There is a weightlifting competition there. So the Arnold Sports Festival is basically every strength sport you can possibly think of, and probably some that you'd never even thought would be a sport. Things like arm lifting, which is a grip sport. You got powerlifting. You've got strongman. You got bodybuilding. All the different types of bodybuilding.
Okay.
All the different federations for powerlifting. USA weightlifting's there. There's Moss wrestling. It's just crazy. It's a lot of fun. But this was right as everything pandemic-wise was kicking off, so we didn't get to do a whole lot at that time. And so
I would imagine.
basically we wandered around Columbus, Ohio for a little bit because that's where it happens. And it just so happened that I took home some silver medals in the snatch, clean and jerk, and the total for my division because according to the sport of weightlifting, I'm officially an old guy. So I'm in what we call the Masters division. That starts at
I like that. You're old. They just call you a master.
Masters.
Masters.
Yeah. And so you get to in 5-year increments. So I'm in the youngest Masters group, but me and another guy were duking it out back and forth.
Data.
Well, just keep going.
Reconnection
There we go.
successful.
Yay. And we are back.
All right.
Nice.
I like that one. Showing off the guns on there.
Yeah, that's my headshot for work. A little more clean shaven, and hair is a little bit more in order.
See, the gun's really good there.
Yeah, kind of doing a little extra flex there.
Yeah,
What?
Always
It's gotta look a little bit bigger in the pictures.
Nice.
This was another band I didn't mention. This was when I was still at DSU. It was a punk band that I was in called Belt Buckle Beatdown.
Belt buckle beat.
Yeah. We
That
decided
doesn't sound redneck at all. That's
no, not at
beautiful.
all. I think there's a story of like some punk kid at Brian, the bass player's high school, getting beat up by a bunch of cowboys by their belt buckles and ended up in like face down in a urinal or something.
Aw.
So everybody called it the belt buckle beat down. We thought that sounded pretty cool.
So that's you on guitar then?
That's me on guitar and vocals.
With glasses? Is that what's going on?
No, that's just I think glare from the
Okay.
photo. Then Brian Tobin over on bass. He's a saxophone player actually, and he had just picked up the bass to play in this band, which was pretty fun. This is on the main floor of the old Music Mart, back after the underground got shut down. So we played a band called Oedipus out of L.A., and they were really, really freaking cool. That was like my first experience like opening for a touring band.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were just coming through. They knew the drummer, who was Dallas Pasnick at the time. He's hanging out there behind his green Fibes kit there.
Oh.
And yeah, he knew the guys, and they.
Fiberglass.
I think that was the wood one, but
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
What? They
Yeah, they
did
did
do
do something,
that for a
yeah.
little bit. That was
Yeah.
out of Austin.
yep. This is me competing in the Star of the North Games a few years back. This is like
concentration.
Yep, got that 120 kilos on my shoulders.
So is that actually like full weight on your chest there, or are you holding that up at the same time?
So ideally you want it to be a little bit on your shoulders. You don't want it to be on your clavicle too much. Like it's touching there. There's just nothing you can do about that unless you have some major mobility problems. But if it's sitting too deeply into there, I've seen it happen a couple times in person and a couple times on some high level competitions. But if you have that sitting, it'll cut off your circulation and you go night-night.
Oh, gee.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep. So you get that
The
rolled up on
sleeper.
your deltoids and just holding it in that front rack position, getting ready to punch it overhead. That's our facility. We just did some remodel work. Just did that last Saturday. So that's where I hang out. That's where I do my lifting. That's where I do some of my coaching down in downtown Fargo.
It's nice and clean in there.
Yeah. That's where we do our big strength work.
What's the address of that?
1620 First Avenue North.
It's on the north side up there by the old shoe company, just helping people so they can.
Oh yeah, so just going direct west on First Avenue out of downtown. We're right next door to Drecker, Inner Office, Rail Yard. We got a lot of great partners and friends that are in that area.
And they're really developing back there now.
They are. They just brought out the crane today. I hang out with those guys 3 times a week. The founders of the brewery, and we help whip them into shape.
And the 701's right over there too.
701's up to the north a few blocks.
Okay.
Yeah, they're up by Fargo Brewing.
Oh, okay, there we go.
This is way back in the day. There's a guy in a goofy mask there that looks a lot like Wade.
I don't see anybody.
You don't see anybody. This was immune system. There's Jay over on the left side, me poking through, and then Todd
Let's see if
and
Cito can
Craig.
figure out something here.
What was that?
What?
Do you know which one's Wade?
Oh no, I didn't even know he was in the band.
Yeah, he's hiding in there.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't want to guess. I'm getting out of this one because I'm going to say the one on the left is Wade.
That's actually Jay.
That's actually Jay.
I knew that.
That was a really funny concert because he looked, kind of effeminate on that
I
one.
was getting hit on so hard after that. There were some creepy ass women out there.
That's got to be Wade with the long hair and the mask then.
It was.
That was
okay.
me.
But Jay was wearing that leather vest thing. I think he got from his girlfriend or something, or I can't remember where we got that. But there was one guy that was just obsessed with him, just drooling over him, and thought he was a lady. And then he rips that leather thing off, and the guy, you could just see it on his face. He was looking really excited, and then the realization, he was like, I believe this was this Faster Pussycat? I believe this was. No, it wasn't. No. That was a different one.
Nice.
Yeah.
This
was
out
at the Nestor.
It was at the
I
Nestor.
want this one in the archives now at the end. So.
Oh man, this is my last professional teaching job. One of the guys out there knew about this photo, and of course he has to pull it up and show it to everybody. And I'm just like,
yes,
that's the reason why I wore the mask in the first place.
Yes,
so I could figure out who I was.
Yep.
I don't know. It was just a lot of fun to play. The music was really cool.
This was early Venus and Furs when I was involved with it. I was playing down in the old Red Raven because it was still the Red Raven at that time.
The SG.
Yeah, I still got that guitar.
Do you still have that Johnny 5?
And I do not.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
I sold it to somebody. I don't even remember who.
Man.
I think I sold it to Chris.
It's like the greatest sound.
There it
guitar.
is.
Yeah, there's a Johnny 5. I love that guitar.
Yeah, it was a good one. This is the Faster Pussycat show at the Nestor. I know that one for a fact.
Oh,
and
back
we
at the
are
beginning.
back.
Oh no, that wasn't supposed to happen, but it's funny.
And there we go. All right, let's wrap this thing up. So, you got anything left to tell the audience out there?
Yeah, if you're looking to make some changes, hit us up. Looking to maybe get back into doing some music stuff. So, if anybody's looking for a bass player, vocalist, been thinking about doing maybe some sort of pop punk type of cover band or something, just for funsies and hanging out. Would be kind of cool.
And he does not disappoint. He would not disappoint. So, You can find us on Uptown Tonight Podcast at Gmail. You can also find us at uptownbandfargo.com. You can find us all on Instagram, Twitter, and the Facebooks at Uptown Band Fargo and for Uptown Tonight Podcast. So
Make sure you subscribe. Smash that button.
Yep. And if you have anyone that you want to suggest to come on the show, I know we're booked up all the way until next year already. But, we're always looking for suggestions. We're always looking for more things to throw off the roof. So if you have anything you want to donate for that, you just let us know. And if you just want to have any comments just to throw at us, yeah, we're willing to talk to anybody. So if your drummer has more charisma than your front man, you know your band's in trouble. Mm-hmm. That's why my band's doing just fine. So until next time.